so guys that don't know me, obviously Jimmy Cassidy's with the Critter Squad. However, on behalf of Tony Siri and American Animal Control, we're talking about Ridgeguard, and I'm glad every one of you can be here. Some of you have been using the product for quite some time, some have not. Okay, so don't hesitate to ask questions. There's been some changes in the materials, changes in their product. They're only getting better every day. That's one of the things I love about this company. 100% American made too. All right. As you can read the screen, this is a very bold statement coming directly from the owner, Tony Siri. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm a hard man to impress, but they actually have come up with a product that I truly believe in, and not only that, I believe that it's actually it's changed our industry. It's an absolutely amazing product with multiple applications. Slide. All right, everybody knows what a Ridgevin is, right? All right, how many of you have done the old-fashioned rip off the Ridgevin, put the screen underneath it and all that? Okay, dealing with the waste and all that. We never want to interrupt the function of the actual Ridgevin. However, at the same time, it is a weak point on a roof. That's all. It goes without saying. All right, it was something that for years and years out, there was no other option and we tried. I can speak for myself and one of my partners over here. We tried multiple different products, multiple different materials, came up with some good ideas, and we weren't sold on Ridgeguard. Okay, it took us going and actually putting our hands on the product and actually using it. Okay, for the first time, and we're absolutely sold on it. There's nothing like it on the market, nothing like it at all. Next slide. All right, some of the problems with ridge vents, the end caps. I know everybody's seen it. If you've done this for any period of time, sometimes there's an end cap. Sometimes there's not. Even when there is, a lot of times these ridge vents are made out of what?
Plastic.
Plastic, okay? And what are we dealing with? We're dealing with animals that chew. They can blow through this plastic in a matter of seconds. And if there's no end cap on the end, they can literally walk right in without having to chew at all. Slide. All right, so we're here in South Texas. We don't have what some of you folks might call winter, all that white stuff. But we still all experience one thing: significant temperature changes throughout the season. Okay, well, plastic is heated and cooled over multiple years. It doesn't even matter if it's a brand new roof. That plastic is going to warp. The seams are going to separate, and it just makes it easy access for bats, squirrels, rats, snakes, you name it. They can just literally walk right in without having to do any work at all. Okay, and this is not. You could call it a flaw in the material. But this is all they make right now for ridge vents, okay? So that's why this product, as far as Ridgeguard, is so incredibly important. Next slide. Just another example, if we've got seams or gaps, it's going to allow debris to build up underneath, and also nesting from rodents. If they're crawling up underneath, they'll nest up under here. They'll carry twigs and branches and the leaves and whatnot, and just clog up. And now what are we talking? Now we're talking it's interrupting the ventilation of your attic, but what's going to affect your electric bill and your heating and cooling bill. Next slide. I'll be honest with you. I've never run across this. Has anybody ever seen anything like this before?
No.
Okay, it just looks like they put some kind of a sponge ridge vent and slapped some tile on top of it. Easy access for critters to walk right in the house. I'm glad I've never seen anything like this. I think even if I ran across this, I would still rip off the ridge vent and do it properly, and I would still install Ridgeguard. Next slide. All right, here's a couple of great examples of this is a different style. This isn't like a Cobra vent. This is a different style of ridge vent. This is an end cap. Sometimes they'll slap tar rather than actually putting an end cap on the end of the ridge vent. They'll just fill this void with tar, obviously with no backing and nothing that's very strong. Rodents can chew right through it literally in a matter of minutes. And just another example of a different type of ridge vent. They can walk right in there. It's just absolutely, it's what the builders use, okay? And that's as far as I'm concerned, as a wildlife professional, sounds like job security to me. All right, next slide. Okay, so why is it important to address the ridge vent in everything that we do? So about anybody, just think about it. Why?
Every house, it's vulnerable. It's
every single
house.
Yeah. A lot of the houses in our area have ridge vents, some don't. Okay, so if a house has got a ridge vent, It's incredibly important for some of the things we've already talked about. The critters are getting in here, they're clogging up the actual vent, okay, impeding the airflow through, which is going to obviously affect your heating and cooling bill. Okay, if they chew into any point on the ridge vent, now you're talking water damage. Okay, so this is a soft spot, and it's an integral part of a roof system as far as ventilation, but it's also a soft spot. They build these houses to protect them from weather. Okay, what we're experiencing over the last couple of decades is the boom in the wildlife industry is the fact that wildlife is making they're making adjustments to living in this new environment. Okay, and all they do is adjusting to the changes in their environment. So it's kind of a new phenomenon. Okay, which is great for us, but still we've got to do our best to protect our homeowners and obviously their biggest investment, which is their homes. Next slide. Just another example right there. A lot of times, and if you look at it, what's so important, and then we're going to talk about inspections here in a minute. Sometimes we get a little bit lazy, we don't want to pull the ladder off the truck, we think, oh, it's a one-story ranch, we can get all the pictures, from the ground. If you don't actually get up on the roof, you can look at this squirrel sticking its head out, but even at this angle, you really can't see the hole and the damage, okay? So it's so incredibly important. We talked about this, in the past, how incredibly important thorough inspections are. A lot of companies will go, they'll walk around a house, take some pictures, write a few things down, say some things to scare their client, try to sell the job, and that's not the right answer, okay? I pride myself on telling my clients as I'm done with my inspections, I'm not going to leave your house until I have answered all of your questions. Okay, that's one of the things I don't want to leave my clients more scared or more uninformed or with more questions than when I got there. How do we do that? Inspections. We got to get up close and personal. We got to check the houses out. It's incredibly important. Next slide. Just another example. All right, this is a good one. Okay, I do not sell fear. All right, I do not sell fear, but sometimes when we talk about wildlife, folks have a phobia of critters for no reason. A lot of times because they don't understand what they're dealing with. Okay, so one of the main reasons we deal with ridge vents, well, in my area, in this area anyway, and probably in y'all as well, we're talking bats, we're talking rats, rodents, mice, rats and mice, squirrels. What eats rats and mice? Snakes. Okay, this is a beautiful picture, and what they do is they follow the scent trail of the rodents. Okay, it's a tactic you got to be careful with because I think it's an unethical business practice to sell fear. But you got to inform your clients so that when they're trying to decide if they want to hire you, they can make an informed decision because you have informed them everything that is a problem or could potentially be a problem. Because we don't just fix the actual problem itself, we try to prevent future problems. Okay, which is another thing that's very important about Ridgeguard, because it is such a good product. It's got the warranty is amazing. It's an amazing product, and it will add value to your companies. I am speaking from experience. I just started using it this year. Cannot tell you how much it's helped me grow my business. It's absolutely amazing. Next slide. Okay, here's some video. If y'all look a little bit closely, we got a critter just literally walking there, and you can see there's no chew damage, and this is just a regular ridge vent. Okay, just a plastic ridge vent with no ridge guard on it. Literally, it's crawling right underneath it, and it's really not that much of a gap.
That's a bat.
Huh? It's a bat crawling underneath it.
It's a bat.
Okay, and everybody knows here a bat can get in what? 3/8 of an inch by 1 inch gap. Okay, and something like this, even if that gap isn't that big, it's soft plastic, so it'll flex a little bit. Okay, so this is a perfect example, and it's a great picture actually. They've got other footage online that you can see of bats, entire colonies just coming in and out, in and out, in and out. Okay, so this is a good example of it looks like a normal, well-built roof, ridge vent, looks pretty well intact, not much of a gap. And there's a picture of a bat crawling underneath the gap. Okay, next slide. All right, the old way. I mean, some of you guys have been doing this a while. How long have you been doing this? Did you say, Jerry?
As far as the tracking or just in solid?
Wildlife in general.
Oh, since I was 8 years old, 44 years.
Okay. Mario, you've been doing the pest control for quite some time now yourself, right?
8 years now.
Okay, so we're talking, this is the old method, all right? And Tony and his folks, Tony Siri, the owner of American Animal Control, he said there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. Any entrepreneur, we're always thinking of how can we be more efficient. Okay, I know I've got to fix this problem. How can I do it better? How can I do it faster? How can I cut my costs? Okay, how can I provide the best quality to my clients? That's what they've done here. Okay, this was the old method. Okay, yeah, it was labor intensive, it was material intensive. Yeah, then you had the cleanup afterwards. It was messy. It was difficult. It was hard, difficult work to fix the problem that we're talking about, which we're mainly focusing on Ridgevin right now. Okay, this was a difficult task. I did this once. I'll never do it again. I will never do it again. Unless I come across that one ridge. It was like, I don't know what it was. I still can't figure out what that was. All right, but this was a very, very inefficient way. But the technology wasn't out there. Luckily, Tony put his head together with some of his smart guys, and they came up with what I truly still believe. That's a bold statement. They came up with a product that is revolutionizing our industry. It truly, truly is. Okay, next slide. Okay, cannot even describe how much quicker this method is. Okay, everybody worries about the expense of the material, and we all heard the phrase, you get what you pay for. Okay, when you're calculating expenses or a job, okay, you've got to think about man hours. You got to think about material costs. Obviously, danger level. There's so many factors in, not just I can get Cobra Vent and shingles for X amount of dollars per linear foot, or I can get we're using Ridgeguard as our example. I can get Ridgeguard for X amount of dollars per linear foot. Okay, that's great. Now we've got our material costs. Now what about man hours? What about dump? What about refuse and cleanup? You got to think about all of that. There's no comparison to the two. All right. With Ridgeguard, we talked about this the other day, Mike, and I hate to put you on the spot. How long does it take you to install 160 linear feet? Just over an hour.
To an hour.
Okay. So 160 linear feet product. Now we're not talking like if you got a 10-foot ridge, that's 20 feet of material, okay? 22 actually, because you got a foot for each end cap, all right? So let's do the math real quick. 160 linear feet of material. Now I charge $12.50 per linear foot. So like if I've got a 10-foot ridge vent, I'll charge for 12 feet because it's 10 feet, 2 feet on each end, and it's $24.99. I don't do 10 foot, and then a foot on each end. If it's a 10-foot ridge vent, I say 10 foot plus a foot on each end. Okay, that's 12 feet. And I charge $24.99 a foot. I've kind of gone back and forth about how long it takes me to install ridge vent. Okay, I make profit. I do. Now I can't speak for him because our price is different and whatnot, but our speed is about the same. I make almost $1,200 profit off of each tube. I can install a tube of Ridgeguard. I can do 160 foot in about an hour. So last time I checked, around $1,200 an hour is relatively good pay. Okay, now that's just my experience. Everybody in different parts of the country, your prices are going to vary depending on your community and the demographics. Okay, I know guys up north that are charging. No, I'm not going to say his name, but I think he's up to like
He's $20 a foot.
$20 a product foot.
I did 50 feet of Ridgevin, and we charged $2,000. I got a ton of material left over still.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so.
And it's easy on your body.
It's easy. The technicians don't need to be as skilled.
No.
You can't hire anybody off the street to rip off ridge
Mhm.
and reinstall.
But you can teach a monkey to install a ridge guard.
As long as
Okay.
they can hang on the roof and drill.
Just
Yeah.
and not fall off. And not fall off. Yeah. Totally removing a ridge vent and reinstalling it and reshingling is not. That's not a good day of work for me. Okay, but ridge guard goes on, and when I'm done, I've made a great living that day, and I'm not in pain at the end of the day. It's like, all right. What exactly is ridge vent? Or correction, what exactly is ridge guard? Okay, it's exactly what we said it was. Okay, it's a rigid material that's specifically designed. Now, it's not going to keep out a raccoon. They do have a new product that's coming out, and it's in the new brochures It's actually going to protect the entire ridge. It's not in the slideshow. However, it's specifically designed to keep smaller critters and even insects. When I tell my clients and I show them, and one of my sales techniques is I always keep a small piece of it. And when I talk to my clients about it, you know, it's like, the price, sometimes there's a knee-jerk response, but when I explain to them, you know, a wasp can't even get through, stinging insects can't get through, just feel this, and I put it in their hand, it changes the conversation. They realize, wait a minute, I'm actually dealing with a quality product. You know, hey, this guy is actually, you know, he knows what he's talking about. He actually has the product, you know, and then you put it in their hand, and it kind of gives them a little bit of ownership. That's just one of the things that I do, and it's not only that. I mean, I believe in this product, you know, and I want to share it with as many people as I can. I put Ridgevin on every single estimate I do. I don't care if it's as simple as, you know, we just want you to do the weak vent holes, you know, we just want you to do some track. If I do an estimate, every single time I put Ridgevin or Ridgevin or exclusion and Ridge Guard on every single one of my estimates, and it works. Okay, we sell a lot of that stuff. Okay, in fact, Mike and I were just talking. We're fixing to have to order another 22s. Okay, it's great stuff. But I highly advise carrying a piece of this because you're going to have trimmings throughout jobs. Keep a piece on all of your technicians' trucks, and when you're doing your estimates and selling the jobs, I highly recommend having a piece of this so you put it in your client's hands. And of course, everybody's got brochures with your little handouts. You know, handing them out. Brochures work great too. Bottom line is put something in their hand. Put something in their hands so they can reference it, they can feel it, and they can take ownership of it. That is incredibly important. Okay, let's talk about the material. Okay, this conversation came up earlier this year. Obviously here in South Texas, we live in a coastal area. Salt, oxidation, rust is a serious concern for us. So we have to be very careful what materials we use, especially metal products, okay? The question came up from myself and a few other individuals that live in coastal areas. The material used to be expanded metal, okay? 22 gauge expanded metal. After doing some research, and even on this piece, because this is one of the old material, there you can even see a little bit of rust on this one. Okay, Tony did some research, found a better material. So it went from 22 gauge to 20 gauge, so it's even stronger. And the material is called galvannealed. It's a steel. It's an expanded metal, still a steel, and it is literally, as far as corrosion resistance, one level underneath stainless steel. The only thing more corrosion resistant than the new material is stainless steel, and it's still powder coated. Okay, so that's one of the things I love about this company is the fact that they listen to the technicians in the field. They ask for data. They want feedback, even if it's bad. They want to know. Okay, and when you're working with a company like that, they're all American. They're all about American-made products. They want to hear from us so they can continue to get better. I can get behind companies like that. Okay, they're just a bang-up outfit, and they're just good folks. Next slide. Okay, we're going to talk about the actual, like when you're talking to your guys, you want to actually be able to explain, hey, you know, put the screw in this, put that there, okay? Where you're actually going to put the tab, where you're actually going to put the screws into the decking of the roof, okay? This is called your screw tab, which is this lower portion right here. The ridge vent itself obviously sticks up roughly about an inch. That's going to be your rise. Okay, and then the part that goes over the top of the shingles, which we'll talk about again when we get down into the hands-on. This is called the run. It basically fits just like this over the outside edge of your ridge vent, pushed in tight, not too tight. If you push in too tight, you're going to end up with a bow when you're doing a long, 20, 28, 30, 40, or 40-foot run. If you keep pushing in too hard, you're going to end up with a bow. Okay, if we do this properly with the right amount of pressure, you're going to have a beautiful, clean, straight line. Okay, and that's kind of important. Even when you first start, you're going to have that bow every once in a while. But as you get better at it, you're going to start learning the feel, and you're going to be able to get your line straight. And it really does look good. Okay. All right, this we're going to talk about what we're actually going to do. Okay. One thing to consider, obviously every one of us, this is what we do for a living. There's different pitches of roofs, all right? When you're dealing with a rigid metal, okay, there's a couple of methods. We've got a one-cut method. Well, but again, the pitch of the roof is going to dictate which method. If it's a really, really steep roof, you have to do what's called relief cuts to make this bend right here in the middle seamless. But the good thing about it is it overlaps. But there is, like I said, the two methods are the one cut, and then of course we're gonna have to do the relief cuts, and we'll show you both on the model downstairs. The other consideration on the end caps, because this obviously this is going to be this is addressing the end cap, is some homes, as I'm sure you've all seen, the Ridgevin will go all the way to the edge of the roof line. Okay, some roofs there'll be a 2 to 4, maybe even a 6 or even a 6 inch or a foot, gap to where the Ridgevin stops, and then you've got roofs. So there's two different methods of actually doing the end cap, which to seal up the end cap and try to minimize. The fewer times you got to cut it, the better. Okay, but you got to deal with the different scenarios. Obviously, the house is going to dictate which method you use. Next slide. Okay, this is just a perfect example of the Ridgevin that's been installed. And if you just, one of the things you want to be careful for, like I said, if you push in too hard when you're doing the installation, when you push in too hard, that plastic is going to flex. Okay, and you can get a bow. Sometimes it's visible from the ground, sometimes it's not. Okay, but just keep in mind, just try to keep the pressure and keep an eye on your line to make sure that the line stays straight. Something we talked about a minute ago, I think it's on another slide. Sometimes the shingles will go way over almost to the outer edge of the actual ridge vent. Sometimes there'll be an inch or an inch and a half gap where the shingle stops, where they cut your shingles short, and there's a whole bunch of the ridge vent sticking out. What I do is I cut that plastic. Okay, I cut that plastic to where the bottom line is I want my tabs to make good contact with the roof. Okay, obviously I want them watertight. And then my shingles, I want the run to be on top of my shingles. I want there to be overlap. I don't want my shingles to be right at the edge of my run. Okay, I want that run to go all the way over the top of my shingles. And if that plastic gap between the shingles and the outer edge of the ridge guard or the ridge vent is too big, cut it. You're not going to need it anymore because this is going to take place of it. Okay? There's one more thing I want to talk to you about that. No, that was it. Okay. This is exactly when we talk about the straight lines and how pretty it's going to look. This is a good example of how clean and tight the lines are. Now, one of the problems here, though, I want to make. Okay, so shingles. When sometimes the shingles, when they're offset or they're stacked, you can actually, it'll be tight at one shingle and then loose at another. Okay, so you got to keep an eye on the actual and again the pitch of the roof. This is kind of a standard for just most 912 or 1212 pitch roofs. Okay, but the cool thing about it, if you do have an odd pitched roof, you can actually bend this product relatively easily, so it's actually a lot tighter. Okay, what you want is it's spring loaded. You don't want it loose. Okay, when you actually install it, you don't want your screw tab sticking up. You don't want it tight on a couple of shingles and the next shingle over where there's a lip, and then you don't want that gap to where bats or mice or snakes can get underneath it. So you got to pay attention to the pitch of the roof. And if you need, and these are easy to bend by hand. You just saw me do it. Okay, you just bend it to where it actually you can custom kind of bend it to the actual pitch of that roof. That is extremely important right there. Next slide. Okay, here is a great example. Okay, so this is now as we were talking about the difference between replacing ridge vents and actually the benefits of using ridge guard as opposed. Okay, not only will it save our bodies and time and money, what does it equate to? But let's say here, this is a perfect example of a damaged ridge vent. It's a plastic ridge vent that's broken, and it's an easy access point for critters. When we go downstairs, like I said, we're going to do the hands-on practical application. Okay, with this same spot, you can still see the break right here. So instead of having to replace a broken ridge vent, now you've wildlife proofed it, covered up the damage. You can't even see it, and it's still going to keep wildlife out. You save your client some money. Now it's going to cost some money to put the ridge guard on, but you've repaired the damage without having to replace the ridge vent. It's a win-win. It absolutely is. Next slide. Another perfect example. Obviously, it's broken. Could have been chewed by a critter and whatnot. This is kind of hard to see, isn't it?
Same picture.
Huh?
Same picture.
It's the same
It's got
picture.
a cover on it.
Huh?
It's got the ridge guard on it.
It's absolutely, yeah. That's what I'm saying. That. Okay, my eyesight. I'm losing my eyesight. One of the cool things, another cool thing about it, when you actually put the ridge guard on these houses, a lot of times you cannot even see it from the ground. Okay, I mean, folks will look at the roofs and I can't see what you did. I mean, I've actually had to have clients. Okay, all right, I need you to climb my ladder. I'm gonna be right behind you. I'm not supposed to let them climb my ladder, but I'm like, or I'll go up there and take a picture. And I'll bring it back down and show it to them. But a lot of times they can't even see it, especially when you're dealing with a 2 or 3 story house. Okay, but one of the things that are important to me is the fact that the line, when you learn to install it, get that pressure right, push it up against the ridge vent, install it with the right amount of pressure, it gives a beautiful, clean, straight line. And one of the most important things we want is obviously to be walleye proof. But I love that straight line. It just gives it. I mean, it just makes it pop. It really does. Next slide. All right, so this is very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Liberal. And we're not talking politics here. To say 100% profit, most of us are making 300-400% profit. No problem. I mean, no question about it. Okay, when I'm buying my product for $2.45 a linear foot, material linear foot, and I'm selling it for $12.50 per material linear foot. Okay, and when you explain to folks, you put this in their hand, the benefits, you tell them the material, it's all American made, lifetime warranty. And I tell my clients, one of my selling points, the way I tell my clients is, I tell them, Ridge Guard is going to outlast your roof. And I was like, what's cool is you're having it put on by a certified installer. When it's time, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, it's time for you to replace your roof, all you got to do is call us. Okay, you've already bought the material, paid for the service. You'll pay our man hours. We'll remove material. Okay, the roofer's going to replace your roof. We'll put it back on, and the warranty's still good. I just had my roof done. I just bought a house. Finally got it done this past week with all of the weather. I am putting Ridge Guard on a brand spanking new roof with a 30-year warranty. Okay, warranty. Let's talk about warranties real quick. Okay, that was one of the specific topics they wanted me to discuss. Okay, installing Ridge Guard on a roof will void the roofer's installation warranty. However, it will not void the warranty for the shingles. Okay, and Ridge Guard itself has a lifetime warranty if it is installed by a certified installer. Okay, that's extremely important. That's one of the reasons that this is a pilot program, and I'm really excited to be part of this. So anybody can install Ridge Guard, but in order for the warranty to be honored, okay, you must be installed by a certified installer. And after this class, everybody here will be with a certified installer. I know quite a few already have experience installing it, and that's great. However, after the certification, now you can that's a great selling point. Lifetime warranty, and it's got to be and you guys are certified installers. All right, let's talk about some of the ways to sell. We kind of already talked about it, okay? It starts first, connect with your client. Connect with your client, and this is something that everybody knows. There is nothing more important when you're trying to sell a job to do a thorough inspection. You hear horror stories about some of these other companies. They'll never even take a ladder off their truck. They won't go in the attic, okay? Do a thorough inspection, okay? Do a thorough inspection. Take pictures, take notes. Explain to your client, tell them what is going on with their home, okay? And then find out what their pain points are. Don't sell the fear. Find out what their pain points are, okay? What is their biggest concern? Are they worried about the safety of their children? Are they scared to death of spiders? Or whatever. Find out what their pain points are, okay? And then offer a solution. So you hire my company, we're going to fix your problem, okay? We already talked about the fact that the warranty on the product. If the roof needs to be replaced after we install, if you're a certified installer, all they've got to do is call us. We'll remove the product from the home, replace the roof, we'll replace it, and the warranty is still good. Okay. We already talked about quoting it on every job. That's something. In fact, when I met Tony for the first time, he's the one that gave me that idea. Okay, after talking to him, because everybody needs it. Think about the homes. How many homes out there have these plastic ridge vents? Okay, for guys like us, that's money. Okay, so it's extremely important. Every single one of your estimates, talk to them about ridge guard. What I do, okay, some guys like to have brochures to hand to their clients, which is great. What I do, all of my invoicing and estimates is done on an iPad, and I keep in one of my open windows their brochure, because I can zoom in on it, I can point things out, I can show them the pictures of their house, and I can show the pictures on the brochure in digits. My clients love it. So this is one of the tools that I use that I absolutely love. Some people kind of get, some guys, it's kind of hard to get away from paper. Okay, and I understand that. But me, and it took me a little bit, but when I did, that iPad has helped my business, helping me sell jobs tremendously. I couldn't even put a number on it. Okay, I literally could not. All right, we talked about the warranty. Will it leak? All right, the screws that actually come with ridge guard, they're actual roofing screws with the rubber grommet. Obviously, you do not want to over tighten them, but you don't want them to be loose either. Okay, just make sure that they're snug. All right, but no, it will not leak if they are properly installed, which we're going to go over downstairs when we actually do the hands-on application. Can you see it? We kind of talked about that already a minute ago. You got to really look. Okay, but no matter what, even if they can't specifically see the ridge guard installed, it's a beautiful black straight line. It is absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love it. It just gives it such a clean look and a clean, it's just awesome. All right, now I get this question a lot. Can we skip that part? Yeah, absolutely. They can. But I will not warranty, like for instance, if I get a bat job or a rodent job. All right, and of course, the ridge guard is always one of the more expensive line items. Okay, can we skip that part? And I'm telling you, yes, absolutely. But there is no warranty. Everybody, they're going to pay good money for quality service. They're going to want a warranty, and I'll explain to them. I was like, it's made of plastic. It's going to warp. It's already warped. Look at all the holes. I was like, you're asking me to fix your problem, but you're wanting to take one of the most important things out of the equation that's going to protect your home. So, can it be skipped? Yeah, sure, absolutely. I was like, but you get no warranty. So, yes, sir.
The line item, and when you put it, the last slide said, don't put it on the line item.
So,
Or we go back to that.
I was actually it was on the last slide, but that was one of the, when I took them on my iPad, I'm glad you brought it up, because that was the next thing I was going to talk about. All right, so, like for instance, you've got a home, and you're doing an inspection, and it's got 12 different ridge vents, okay? Don't itemize each one, okay? What I have in my joist, and I use joist as my program, okay? I have a line item for ridge vent, and it is a detailed paragraph, pre-typed out and everything. I do the math, okay? And it's hidden it's not on, the price and the description are on the estimate, but the math and the numbers are not shown. It's under the edit menu, okay? So what you don't want to do is give them the price of each thing. Just say, here's all the pictures of your ridge vent. You need ridge guard. This is the description of the problem, and this is how much it is. We're not.
Don't break down. Here's
Don't
10 feet of ridge.
Exactly. And I think you guys are already kind of doing that. The way I talked to Kevin about that a while back. I think you guys are kind of already doing that as far as your line items. Y'all are very careful about what.
Yeah, we don't put much detail on there for breaking things down, because we don't want it. I don't want someone to do half the ridge guard. Right?
And it's opening. It's open.
Pick the cheap part.
Right.
Exactly. And it's opening the door for questions and negotiating and let's.
Keep it simple.
I'm with you guys. No, I agree. I totally agree with that. I'm still trying to figure out how to do it with my program, because we had that conversation not too long ago, and I really like that idea. But yeah, don't break it down. Don't break it down. Hey, you've got a problem with your ridge vent. Here's the fix. Okay, here's the problem. Here's the fix. This is how much it's going to cost. Give them all the information that they need, but they don't need to worry about the pennies. They don't need to worry about the little stuff. Okay, good point. Thank you for catching that, Kyle. Next slide. Okay, that was down and dirty. Again, like I said, most of us have already been using ridge guard. Okay, it has absolutely changed my business. I mean, it has absolutely changed my business. Do we have any questions before we go any further?
I have a question. You said there's a raccoon product coming out?
Okay, there is a okay, and I just saw it, and it's actually in one of the handouts. I
see
just
it on YouTube, but I might be blind.
there's two. One is the instruction, and one is the actual handout. Not that one.
Is it this one right here? Is that
Oh, big.
right there?
Nope. Ooh, let me put my glasses on. You can shut the recording off if you want.
No, no, that one.
Right here.
The metal.
Page 2.
Metal.